Hey everybody, it's Amanda here, back with Pain to Purpose Coaching. Today we're going to be talking about restoring your power, how to overcome ghosting, and we're going to talk about vulnerability and some of the things that you can get from life coaching to be able to navigate some of these things a little better and get some healing and get some more power around them and be able to, navigate it when somebody does this to you. I'm not trying to put you in a victim mindset because I'm going to talk about the ghostee and the ghoster. And we have all done it. We've all been on both sides and didn't think that we were doing anything bad, right? We didn't get it. We didn't realize. But if you are being ghosted right now, which most people are, and it's agonizing, if you are being ghosted, you feel like everything is your fault. If they're not blaming you, then you blame yourself and you feel stupid and you're kicking yourself. Like, why did I send that text again? Why do I keep going to this person looking for resolve and they just keep batting me back, It's a tough position to be in, and you do deserve answers and you do deserve peace. And you don't have to close up. It's good for you to stay open and vulnerable. I want you to know that first and foremost. If you are experiencing being ghosted, you deserve to have resolve. And I'm going to unravel all this for you, okay? I'm going to unravel, just lay it all out, and we're going to learn some stuff today. So, and I'm going to be vulnerable too. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I've experienced in my past that I was really embarrassed about, and what my story and my experience with that is. So the first thing is to understand that if this is a pattern for you, if you've been ghosted a lot and it keeps coming up and each time it's worse and worse, like if you're going through different relations, like it could be with parents, start out with parents and then later on you're ghosted or ignored by, partners and things like that. But when you tap into that feeling, when somebody ghosts you, it's really a deep thing inside going, give me, and it's like a small child begging to be loved or picked up. It could be people don't realize when they do it, it can be a really painful thing. It's holding somebody emotionally hostage. And, but I'm going to cover both sides of it. I'm not picking on anybody here, but that's what it feels like to be on the receiving end of somebody ghosting you and you're emotionally invested in them. So, one of the things about the ghostee is that it's likely a pattern. It's happened more than once to you, and it is time that you learn from it because, as we all know, when we have things show up over and over again, they just get stronger. They might go away for a while, but then they'll circle back around. And when they do, they've got more momentum behind them. That's the universe's way of getting us to learn if we don't listen and respond for the lesson's sake when we need to, for that level of growth. Another thing to remember is that if you are, because it's like I'll go back for a minute. It's like a pebble and then a brick and a brick wall. And you guys know what I'm talking about. So, and it can be with anything. It can be with being ghosted. It could be with abandonment. It can be with being excited about a job, getting there, and there's always that person that's got to mess with you, and it just keeps getting worse each job you go to, right? You leave it because that's going on, go to another one, same shit happens. You get what I'm saying? So, but if you experience this over and over and over, then it's time to open up. Stop, do a little work around this. And I know that it's hard to be vulnerable. I know that when you're vulnerable, you feel open, you want to shut down and protect, but I'm asking you to just go a little bit further and be willing to answer the question of, what is it that I'm afraid to know? That's an important question. I was asked that once by one of my coaches, and it just like all the answers appeared when they asked me that. So that is a very helpful question. What am I afraid to know? And I'm going to share with you a method that I learned in my experience with I was in a push-pull relationship with somebody where it was just, he wanted me 1 minute, the next minute, done with me. Wanted me, done with me. Wanted me done. And I got into that situation and it was just like, I was just like, give me the answer. Tell me the hard thing. And what I found out is that it had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with me. This man had grown up in his early days, had grown up in a family that had abuse, there was confrontation and conflict and all kinds of stuff going on, and it made an imprint on him to where when stuff wasn't always hunky-dory and always good and getting along and peaceful and calm waters, he would avoid it. He would run or say it was a bad situation and run away from it. And most of us have done that too. If things weren't going well instead of diving into the lesson, diving deeper, remaining open, remaining vulnerable, we ran. We said, we got a case of the F-its. We were like, I'm not doing it. F this, bye. And, wanted to run for the hills or run for comfort. And when we do that, I'm not suggesting you stay in conditions where you are being really, really like just destroyed, damaged, abused. I'm not saying do that. What I'm saying is sometimes the lesson, if we stick around and work the problem and work the issue and do the hard thing, that we learn and elevate, and we don't ever have to revisit. That situation never happens again. And that's why I'm a Pain to Purpose coach. That's what I help people with. Or one of the things that I help people with. But back to what happened, this man didn't have the wherewithal to be able to weather the storms. I was a ride or die. I was down, and he just, anytime anything got tough or difficult, he just ran. He just left me holding the bag. And I took all the blame. Not only was I blaming myself because I wasn't as, I didn't know what I know now. There was a lot of things that were unstable at the time for me. But, I just kept putting myself out there, to asking for answers and asking for closure and all that. And every time I just felt worse and worse. And I was started to give my power away. I was working vulnerability in the wrong way, if that makes sense. So, what I had to learn, and I love this quote, Brene Brown once said that vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. And I totally believe that in anything that you are doing, because if you're not open to receive, even if it's hard, even if it's stuff that you don't want to hear, but you need to hear, please be open to that. One of my mentors told me once, and she teaches this, she is a shaman, I believe, and she's a master coach and was my teacher for a few years. One of my teachers, but she told me, her name's Magali Pasha, and she said that when you feel that hurt in the heart, when you're being vulnerable and you're getting dissed or discarded and that keeps going on, and there's pain around it, or you're afraid, that's really your heart opening to receive. So, I'm asking people to go deeper and get some help with this, because that's what life is asking you to do. And if you really want to be a real, true, loving person and unconditionally loving being and also receive that, you have to be open. You can't build a wall up around your heart and expect to be loved and accepted and receive from somebody. It doesn't work that way. So we got to be open and vulnerable. It's a superpower if you know how to work it, but you've got to put power behind it. So that now I'm moving on to the next step. So, what I realized is that I had to give myself closure in that relationship. And it took me a long time to get over this. It really did. Because for years I thought that, possibly the door might still be open, but it definitely, I was never going to receive either. I was never going to receive anything. And because he had already decided in his mind that I was some crazy stalker person, just because I kept seeking from him an answer and wanting closure. And I still loved him, but it ruined a lot of things. It ruined, I held on. I'm not going to lie. I held on too long probably, but it was because I was, I needed somebody to look at me and say, it's never going to be an option. And that's what a lot of us want to hear. But when you are with someone and looking to a person for that answer, but they don't know what they want either, and they don't know who they are completely, and they don't, they're on the fence about hurting and all this other stuff. They don't want to be the butthole because they're the nice guy and all that. No, you are never going to get it, and you have to give it to yourself. So if you are being ghosted, one of the important things to do, and this probably I'd say it has just a very, very high success rate to do this. If you're currently being ghosted, no matter who or what it is, you need to write them and say, and just one, no more, no less, do one line and say, are you done with blank? Or have you given up on blank? And be very specific about what blank is. If you don't get a response, then you have to move on. You have to be done, and I mean completely done. And you need to call up a coach and get to work and get some of your power back and heal, breakup recovery. We need it. We need it because each relationship that we go through, where these patterns that we have are carried out, where we're with people that trigger us and all this stuff, it will wear you down if you're not bouncing back after each one of these situations. And if you're on one of these dating apps and going through this every few months or something, you're going to wind up drained. Really, they're vampiring you. If you're not giving it away, then they're taking it, and maybe both. You can leak and can be sucked off of at the same time. So, and then it becomes a block, right? So please do your healing work after these encounters and clean your energetic field and your EMF and all that. It's important to get with somebody that knows how to do that kind of work. So definitely. The other thing that I wanted to say is that, okay, so step one is text them the one-liner, have you given up on blank? Be specific. And then if they don't answer, move on. But if they answer, then there's a whole nother little set of steps you need to do. Okay. This is part 2. So part 2 is in 3 to 5 minutes, you'll probably get a text message where they're like, oh, there was a tragedy of some kind, or there was some reason I didn't reach out to you. And what you'll do is send another one, no more, no less now. Listen to me. Only send, oh, sorry to hear that. No worries. Or just say, oh, I understand. Leave it at that. Express a little sympathy or empathy to their plight, all right, their issue. And if you don't hear from them after that, then they lied. And they were full of crap. They lied about having any kind of block and all that stuff. But if they answer you again, then you've got a little bit of unfinished business with them. And they are either at that point going to continue to string you along, or they're going to dive back in. But either way, you need to pose the question to them again when they come back around to talk to you. And I would not have sex. I would not invite them for a meal. I wouldn't have a cup of coffee. Nothing. I would not act okay about them not answering your question. They need to give you an answer to the have you given up on blank or not. Then you're able to negotiate, okay, if you need time, I understand, and give it to them. Give them the time, give them the space. You need to go off and do some healing, in the meantime around this situation, because it has happened already. You've already been hurt. You've already been ghosted. You've already been held emotional hostage and questioned your worth and all of that. So it's really important. And I'm going to tell you back to what I was saying earlier about giving power away and things like that. Now, you're giving your power away. If you have this pattern, whether it's been parents, other people, if people just constantly, if you're always going to people for answers and you're not getting them, then you need to stop giving your power away, and you need to come, give me a call, and we'll do some power restoring exercises. Because if not, we just replay these scenarios over and over looking for a different outcome, but it's already happened and we're living in the past. And then you're going to get depressed. When people who are depressed live in the past. People who are anxious, are future pacing all the time and worried about what could happen. But really what those things are, anytime somebody has anxiety like that or something, what you're doing is filtering your energy through limiting thoughts. That's what that is. So you don't have to live like that. There's another way to restore your power and bounce back and be like, okay, I got a lesson from that. I get it. Now I'm going to, take it in. I'm going to heal. I'm going to build my vibration back up. You don't have to sit around being a victim. Now, for the people that are the ghostees, you need some help as well. You have had some traumatic experiences or got some limiting or mixed messages growing up where if something wasn't always perfect, then you walk away from it. If anything, ever gets tough or out of your control, you need to walk away from it. There are lessons there, and I can help you stay strong and powerful and realize these things and give you tools to navigate them when you're confronted with them. Because nothing is worse than a man or a woman who steps into somebody's life, causes them to, engages with them on grown-up adult levels and intimacy and all this other stuff. And then, I'm scared, or I don't know what I want, or this is starting not to look good. I'm going to run away. No, that you don't know who you are or what you want. And it's time that you stop to find out. And if you're just going to continue to find people that want something from you that you can't give or don't know how, you've got some stuff to learn. You don't want to spend your life alone. Nobody deserves to, unless you want to. But then don't go around trying to get people to like you. Stay to yourself. If you got needs, buy a robot, or they make them now, or buy a doll or something, but, or a hand or whatever, or find somebody that is no attachments, just with benefits kind of thing. But I'm telling you, it's not set up that way. Somebody always catches feelings because that's what it's designed for. It's not just robotic physical pleasure. It's not like, people aren't like that. Sorry. You can't give somebody your warmest embrace, your deepest embrace, and not get attached to them somehow, because there's attraction there to begin with. Otherwise there's, just toys. That's all I can tell you. But you've got work to do too. It's not fair to do that to somebody, and you don't like it when it's done to you. So whether you've got control issues or whatever, it's time to get some help. But there's a lot on both sides that needs to be managed or needs to be understood and learned. And you need some skills and some tools. And if you're willing to come to coaching, willing to give me a call or message me at P2P, coachamanda@gmail.com. If you're willing to reach out for a few sessions and get a little bit of help, and you might want to stay on. Maybe there's more stuff to do. But this can definitely help you to be able to be in the moment with somebody and make the right decision and know what you want to do and know who you are and what's going to be the best thing for you and them without hurting them. Nobody wants to be held emotionally hostage, and nobody wants to be that asshole. So I'm just saying there's a better way. So reach out to me if you're wanting some help. There is many different things that we can do. We can do Akashic Records. We can do, power refilling, restoring. We can do wounded childhood stuff. There's all kinds of things. So as always, I love you. Namaste, and I'll see you soon.